Welcome to This Is Baseball, where today I'm going to be going over the Atlanta Braves bullpen, piece by piece. Let's go ahead and start with the closer Raisel Iglesias, who has been nothing but lights out since coming over to Atlanta from the Angels on August 2nd, 2022. And in 2023, Iglesias racked up 33 saves for the Braves, and in 2024 he had 34 saves, which was good for 5th in all of the majors. And his 1.6 WAR was ranked 15th among all relief pitchers. So the Braves are hoping Iglesias can continue to be his dominant self in 2025. Bringing us to our first setup man in Aaron Bummer. Bummer also came to Atlanta via trade and has been a quality option for the Braves ever since, as his devastating sweeper and good sinker combo has the ability to absolutely torment lefties. Bummer has put up elite strikeout rates over the years while not walking many guys or giving up many home runs. His FIP, xFIP, and batting average on balls in play show that he was probably a little bit unlucky last year too, and despite all of that, he still put up 1.1 WAR in 55 innings. Bummer is a solid back-end guy to go to, but he is left-handed, and so thankfully the Braves have another guy in Pierce Johnson who is right-handed and can complement Bummer well. Now Pierce also came to Atlanta via trade, and in 2024 he showed Braves fans exactly why Anthopoulos wanted him, as he racked up the strikeouts for Atlanta while keeping the walks down. Look for Johnson and Bummer to share the 7th and 8th inning duties in 2025, just depending on who's coming up to the plate for the opposing lineup. Bringing us to our last setup type guy in Dylan Lee. Now Lee's a lefty who came to Atlanta on a minor league deal in 2021, and by 2022 Lee was already showing out in Atlanta as he put up 1.1 WAR in 50 innings thanks to his elite strikeout and walk rate. 2023 saw Lee go down with left shoulder inflammation before returning to the bullpen in 2024, where Lee continued to mow down batters at an elite rate. The back end of this bullpen in Iglesias, Bummer, Johnson, and Lee is a very strong back end. But that's only 4 guys, and they cannot pitch every game. Most bullpens are going to carry around 8 guys. So let's take a look at our next options. Starting with Daysbel Hernández. Hernández signed with the Braves out of Cuba in 2017, slowly working his way through the minors before debuting with Atlanta in 2023, but for only 4 games. 2024 saw Hernández pitch 16 games in the bigs, and with it we got to see a glimpse of his upper 90s fastball and wipeout slider. But as is usual with these kind of big stuff guys, they don't always have a ton of control/command, and Hernández is no exception to that, but he has been improving his walk rate every year in the minors. And if he can keep dropping that walk rate, then people around the league are going to start taking note of just how electric this kid is. Bringing us to our next relief option in José Suarez. Suarez was acquired this spring in exchange for Ian Anderson. Now Suarez did put up good numbers as a back-end option out of the Angels rotation in 2021 and 2022, but he was left off the rotation entirely to start the 2023 season before an MRI revealed a left shoulder strain that kept him out for most of the year. 2024 saw Suarez return to the Angels, but out of the bullpen, where despite not putting up the best numbers, his FIP, xFIP, batting average on balls in play, and left on base rate show that he was actually getting a little bit unlucky. He did see a career high strikeout rate, and being a lefty who has been a starter recently, that does provide a little more versatility for the Braves if they choose to use it. Now Suarez is out of options, so he will have to stay in Atlanta's bullpen or be exposed to waivers. Now another pitcher who is out of options is Enyel De Los Santos. De Los Santos was a solid reliever for Cleveland in 2022 and 2023, but in 2024 the wheels fell off completely as he began giving up home runs at a little more than 4 times the rate of what he previously did. If De Los Santos can rein in those homers, then look out, as he's another solid middle relief option for the Braves. Bringing us to a name that Braves fans should recognize is Jesse Chavez. Chavez is on his 5th stint with the Braves, as he originally signed with the Rangers this offseason, but was cut during spring. Chavez has a reputation for signing somewhere else and then finding his way back to Atlanta somehow. So much so that I was actually going to make it one of my 5 bold predictions for this year, but I ended up against it. Chavez has been a solid pitcher for Atlanta in the past, except for 2024 where he saw his strikeout rate plummet. But Chavez has solid numbers otherwise, and with some tweaks, he could give the Braves another good arm to go to in mop-up duty. Now that was 8 names, and remember how I said there's only 8 spots? Well, we have more names left, so let's keep going. Moving on to our next name, we have another guy that Braves fans should know pretty well in Craig Kimbrel. Kimbrel is back with Atlanta after being traded almost a decade ago by them. And like most relievers, Kimbrel is not the same guy he was a decade ago. As in 2024, Kimbrel saw his normally solid walk rate skyrocket. But despite that, he did still manage to get 23 saves with the Orioles, and in 2023 he also had 23 saves, but his walk rate was more in line with his career norms, and he was worth a hearty 1.1 WAR. If Kimbrel can get his walk rate back down, then there's another really good option for Atlanta. Bringing us to our next relief pitcher, we have Buck Farmer. Farmer has been a quality reliever over the years, pitching with the Reds and the Tigers. 2024 even saw him have a normal year for the Reds as he was worth 0.6 WAR. Buck is a good relief option for Atlanta and probably only signed here because he's from Atlanta and is now at the end of his career at 34 years old. Now on to our next relief option, we have another name Braves fans may recognize in Chasen Shreve. Shreven's returning to Atlanta after being traded by them almost a decade ago for Manny Banuelos. Shreve is a soft-tossing lefty who gives up way too many home runs, but could provide alright numbers in mop-up duty and does provide some depth as a lefty. Now I want to talk about 2 relief pitcher prospects who could see some time in Atlanta this year, starting with Rolddy Muñoz. Signed out of the Dominican in 2019, Muñoz has slowly worked his way up the minor league ladder. 2024 saw him make it all the way to AA while still sporting an elite strikeout rate. Muñoz has a plus slider along with an upper 90s fastball. Look for him to spend most, if not all of 2025 in AAA, but if he can continue to mow down batters like he has before, then look out, as this is a high-octane young arm that could break into Atlanta's bullpen at any time. Bringing us to our next reliever prospect in Domingo Gonzalez. The Braves acquired Gonzalez out of the minor league section of the Rule 5 draft, and in 2024 we saw Gonzalez climb to AAA while sporting a ridiculous strikeout rate. Now his stuff is reportedly much more average than plus, but it seems like the Braves may have unlocked something here if he can just keep striking out batters at such an elite rate. So with that, let's go ahead and take all those options and start piecing this all together. Raisel Iglesias is the closer. Aaron Bummer, Dylan Lee, and Pierce Johnson will all play setup man at some point. So there's 4 out of your 8 spots. Daysbel Hernández looks like he will almost certainly hold down a spot in the bullpen this year, but he does have minor league option years left, which almost guarantees that he will be yo-yoed a bit between Gwinnett and Atlanta, as the Braves, like many other teams, have used their AAA bullpen as sort of an extension of their major league bullpen in the past. And it's something that they and other teams will continue to do in the future. Now, when it comes to these other 3 spots, you have to remember that some pitchers can just be sent to the minors, while others can't without first passing through waivers. So keeping that in mind, Jesse Chavez, Enyel De Los Santos, and José Suarez are all unable to be sent to the minors without first clearing through waivers. Now, of course, injuries and performances do happen, but considering that they are out of option years and to be sent to the minors, all 29 other teams have to pass on them first, which is possible depending on the player, the time of the year, and certain other factors, but it does certainly complicate things. I think the Braves will allow their out of option guys like Chavez, De Los Santos, and Suarez just a little bit longer leash in the majors than they would otherwise. That is, until they get hurt or just fall off completely. Once that happens, look for the Braves to start just cycling through the next guys in the list in Kimbrel, Farmer, Shreve, and more. If Muñoz or Gonzalez ever becomes ready during the season, they'll definitely jump the line. But if not, it just seems like the Braves will just keep running that reliever shuttle bus back and forth. But anyways, that'll do it for this one. Be sure to subscribe. And as always, I hope you all are having a wonderful day.